Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
Joe Karp, my favorite Florida board-certified elder law attorney, is calling in from Palm Beach Gardens. So is it raining up there, Joe? You know, we may be having a phone problem. I was warned about this, so we'll see if we do. But in the meantime, I just have to tell you that Joe Karp is a very extraordinary attorney. And he is someone who our family has used for a long time, and we're very, very happy with the results. And you never know what the results are until someone passes away. So let me just tell you a little bit about Joe. Joe is he is one of the first board-certified elder law attorneys here in South Florida. And, of course, it's very interesting because when you ask a lawyer, are you board certified, he certainly he looks at you like you're a little bit crazy, but it's okay. So Joe has worked very hard to create a great environment for people who want to have the very best in their trusts and many other things. Are you there, Joe?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. I know we're having a little problem with the phone, but that's okay. We'll figure. I've been talking about you anyway, behind your back.
Okay. That's okay. Good morning. Technology is a wonderful thing when it works.
Most of the time it works.
And I think they should give the engineer hazardous duty pay for today, and
I know.
Perhaps a Xanax. And a Xanax.
No, he's really there. He wanted to do this.
He's cool.
He's very cool. He's very nice. Okay, Joe. So I think what your article in our issue, when gifting, be careful with highly capitally appreciated assets. I never heard that term before.
Okay, well let's talk about it, because there are two types of. One has to understand what happens to assets. There's two types of assets, or three, that we have that one should look at when they are gifting. There's assets that have capital gains issues. Stocks have capital gains. Real estate, hopefully, will, and we're saying hopefully in all cases. Obviously, things can have losses. But you buy a stock for $100, and it appreciates to $1,000. And after a year, there's capital gains, and you only pay, if you sell it for $1,000, you pay 15% tax on the $900 profit. Whereas if it didn't have long-term capital gains, you would pay ordinary income tax on it, which would be whatever your tax bracket is. So if you happen to be in the 25% bracket, you'll pay 25. If you're at the 42% bracket, you're going to pay 42. So obviously that appreciation has some effect on how much taxes will be paid. Then you have things that have ordinary income growth. And I'll give you some of the examples. If you buy a CD, every year you get the interest income. Even if you don't take it out, you're credited with it, and you pay income tax on it annually. But there are other things that people buy that have accrued income growth that's deferred. Some of the things that have deferred income growth, U.S. government savings bonds. You paid $25 for a $50 bond, and you held on to it till maturity, and it's worth $50 now, and you cash it in. That has deferred income growth, but it's ordinary income. It's not long-term capital gains. It didn't grow in the way an investment does, and it's just ordinary income, and when you cash it in, you'll get $50, $25 returned to you. That's return of principal, and you'll pay income tax on $25. The other thing that has deferred growth, that has ordinary income, much to the surprise of many people, are annuities. And if you buy a tax-deferred annuity, underline the word deferred, so you give your broker $50,000 for a tax-deferred income annuity, and obviously there are other types of annuities that have fixed income and stuff like that. And if it's fixed income, but you've deferred the income in terms of you're not taking it, it's just deferred, just as it is with the U.S. government savings bonds. But even if it's a variable annuity that's invested in the stock market and in mutual funds, that's tax deferred, and when you cash it in, you'll pay ordinary income tax on the growth. In fact, with annuities, the rule is last in, first out. So if you put $50,000 in an annuity and it appreciated to $75,000, and you wanted to take $10,000 out, you would take the last money out, which means the income, and you'd pay income tax on that $10,000.
But Joe, as you're talking about this, what do you do, though, in documents for them to not be so penalized?
Well, there's nothing you can do to alter the documents. What you have to do is, and that's why we are not just paper pushers. We are advice givers. We are counselors at law. So let me talk about what we talked about in gifting, because there's an unusual thing that many people don't know about, which is many of my clients want to give their loved ones gifts. And sometimes what they want to gift is the house in the Poconos or in the Catskills that they bought for $35,000 and it's now worth $90,000. I don't know if anything's worth $90,000 in the Catskills, but that's a separate issue. But anyway, it's worth $90,000, and they say, or they have the campsite in Maine or wherever, and they want to give the land. That's also deemed the same as stock in terms of its capital gains, capital growth. So let me talk about some rules that people don't know about. They say, I'll just give my daughter this house so it won't go in probate in New York. And I say, well, maybe you don't want to do that. And you say, why? And here's why. And the same thing, or I want to give my grandson $10,000 worth of this stock because I was smart enough to buy Apple in 1992 when everybody said it was done for. And I paid $6 a share with all the splits. My value was $6 a share, and now it's over $100. So I'm going to give him $14,000 worth of the Apple stock. So now we'll talk about what happens with gifted assets versus inherited assets. And there's some trade-offs that people have to think about. A capitally appreciated asset, like the stock or the real estate, when you die, gets what is known as a step-up in basis, which means for capital gains purposes, it changes the value so that Xerox stock, that Apple stock is no longer a $6 basis. So if you sold it at $100, there'd be a $94 capital gain per share. Or the place in the Poconos is not a $35,000 basis; it's $100,000. So your kid will inherit it at the current. And when I say your kid, it's anybody who gets it. If you own it in your own name and you leave it to your spouse will get it with a step up in basis. So now the value when they go to sell it is not for capital gains purposes $6 or $35,000. It's the value at the date of your death. So if the stock is worth $100 and your grandson then sells it at $100, no capital gains tax. If he sells it for $106, he'll only pay capital gains on the $6 over the value at the date of your death. He won't pay it on the other way. But if you've gifted it, it retains the original basis. So if you give your grandchild that stock and then the day after you die says, okay, my grandparents finally dead, I can get that money, I'm going to sell that stock. Well, they were gifted it before your death. They will retain your original basis and they will have capital gains tax. And that can be substantial. It's 15% federal. But if your child lives in New York or New Jersey or another state that has income tax, it's going to be even more. So unless there's a reason to gift that stock right away, it's much better to leave that stock. Let them inherit it with a step up in basis.
Joe, is this
So
all?
that they-
Joe, is this all new stuff? Has it always been like this?
This is everyday stuff. This is the stuff we give out. When our clients come in, not only are they set up to do their estate plan, but along the way we are discussing this. And when we do 3-year reviews, we talk to them about it. We explain gifting so they understand it, because we have a relationship with our clients. So as an ongoing relationship, we talk about it so that they understand it. Now I'm going to tell you some other stuff. So that's interesting how we just avoided taxes by leaving the money to the child, leaving that stock to the child. And if that stock was put into, or that property in the Poconos was put into the trust, we've avoided the capital gains tax. And we've avoided the probate in Pennsylvania, New York, or wherever. And that's important stuff to people to figure out. Now, here's the other interesting thing. Then there's the tax deferred, like the U.S. government savings bonds or the annuities. And we're not talking about IRAs at this point, but U.S. government savings bonds and annuities. Well, those are ordinary income. So for many of my clients who, of course, have this great fear, and they follow the traditional rule, never pay taxes or pay taxes at the last possible time, right? That's a customary belief. Put off paying taxes. So I'll have clients leave their annuities alone, so when they die, their kids will inherit it, and my clients won't have paid any income tax on that appreciation.
Wow.
And that's fine, but it's not a capital gains issue. Tax-deferred income means sometime somebody's going to pay the income tax. It doesn't go away, and it's ordinary income. So if you leave that annuity to you're in the 15% bracket. You're a retiree, modest income, modest assets. If you had taken money out, you would have paid it 15%. If you had sucked out that profit, you would have been paying it the 15% bracket as a Floridian with no state income tax. Now your son or your daughter, who's an accountant in Westchester County, inherits that annuity. And they want to stretch out the taking out of the money over 5 years, which they can do with a regular annuity. Well, they've got to do one of two things. Let's make that child not an accountant, so they're not that sophisticated. They own a supermarket, so they just run a business well, and they're smart, but they're going to retire, and they don't need the money right now. It's an annuity. They'll leave it alone. They have up to 5 years to pull it out, so they'll wait. If they have two choices. One, they can file an income tax return for you as the decedent and declare all of that growth as income with respect to a decedent. But let me tell you, 99% of the people don't do it, don't know it, don't care. Okay? They just leave it alone. My parents, my parent died in February, doesn't have to file an income tax for 2016 because they only made 2 months of Social Security. I inherited the annuity. I got 5 years to pull it out, so they forget about it. There's no income tax return due for mom or dad. Now, your child decides to pull the money out, and they pull it out 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Nobody's ever paid the income tax on that appreciation.
Uh-oh.
So they're going to, and guess how they pay it? They pay it at their income tax rate in the state in which they reside. So your child in Westchester County is going to not pay your 15%, but they're going to pay their federal state income tax, and if they live in Manhattan City, they're going to pay 50% on the appreciation because it's tax-deferred income.
let me introduce you. I know you've been saying all these wonderful things for people to be able to do a better job of all this, but I want them to know that you are Joseph S. Karp. You're a nationally certified and Florida Bar certified elder law attorney, and you specialize in the practice of trusts, estates, and elder law. Very, very important qualifications. His offices are located in Boynton Beach, PGA Boulevard, which is Palm Beach Gardens, and he actually, you also go up to Port St. Lucie, don't you? You have.
We've had an office there 15 years.
I know you have. You were so far ahead. When you first opened it, I said, "What are you doing up there?" And that place is just swarming.
Well, as soon as I heard the New York Mets were going to be there, I knew it was inevitable. I'm not kidding.
That's who you
are.
I'm
not kidding. That was my determination. The New York Mets are coming. New Yorkers will follow.
Yeah, you're right, and they have, and that place is amazing. But I just want to give you, everyone, this is a phone number that you can call. It's toll-free. If you want to set up an appointment, if you want more information, it's 800-893-9911. Again, 800-893-9911. Or you can go, of course, to their website, which is extraordinary. It's one of the finest websites, whether it's for law or anything else. It's really well done. The phone number, the website is karplaw.com. That's KARP law.com. And I have to also say that Joe has a blog, and it's karplaw.blogspot.com. So I just want, and I think maybe at this time we should also talk about your great seminars. And I think, well, let's just do that. Well, here's the good news. There's the good news and the bad news.
Okay. Is we didn't do a seminar for the month of April,
right?
Because we had actually concerns because so many of our clients were going up north early this year. They were going up by Passover time and going back for the season. Little did they know how cold and brutal it was going to get again,
right,
up north. So we decided, since we had to meet our existing clients' needs and the people who just call up, we didn't do a seminar this month. We're going to do it again in May, and it's Tuesday, May 10, at the Palm Beach Gardens Marriott. It's at 1:30 in the afternoon, and it takes about 2.5 hours, but we entertain you with information. We'll give you coffee and cookies. That's it, so you better eat lunch. Then on Wednesday, May 11, we're in Port St. Lucie from 1:30 to 4 p.m. at the Port St. Lucie Holiday Inn. And I will be doing the one in the Gardens. And then Wednesday, May 11, Jenny Bernstein, who's also a board-certified elder law attorney, who's been with the firm 11 years. It'll be 12 years in the end of May. She will be doing that seminar. And then on Thursday, May 12, from 1:30 to 4 p.m. in Boynton Beach at the Courtyard by Marriott. And although most of the time I do that seminar, Jenny will be doing that as well. But she's been doing seminars and workshops for our office for the last 7 years. And everybody who's been there says she was terrific. And the beauty of when she does it, everybody wants to see her and not me, so I can put my feet up.
That's funny.
But anyway, they're informative. We talk about gifting. We explain stuff like that. We talk about the Medicaid laws. We talk about veterans' benefits and what you can do and can't do to avoid it. And we also talk about traditional estate planning, wills, trusts, probate avoidance, pros and cons, the wisdom of what people are doing and not. And we try to give good advice and good information and open up people's eyes. So when they hear stuff like this, it's like nobody ever told me that. Or when we talk about the fact that you can give away more than $14,000 to a loved one, and it's not a taxable event. Most people think if they give $20,000 to their daughter, there's income tax on the amount over the $14,000, and it's not income tax. It's a gift. Gifts are not income. And we explain that your daughter declares nothing because she didn't earn it. which is unfortunately true of most people's children when they get the money from them. They didn't earn it. It's just there for them, and parents love to help. And you don't pay tax on the money either, because unless you've given away $5,450,000, $5,450,000, it merely gets the $6,000 gets deducted off your lifetime gifts. So we deconfuse, or we start to confuse people because we change all of the things they believed were true. I mean, I had a doctor call me yesterday on his mother, and he said, I can't afford to take this gift from my mother. I can't pay more income tax this year. And I said, are you married? And he says, yes. And I said, did you get wedding presents? He says, yes. I said, did you declare those on your income tax? He says, no. I said, would you commit tax fraud? He said, no. I said, because it was a gift. You didn't earn it.
Oh, that's...
You don't pay taxes, doctor.
That was
but it's more than $14,000. Yeah, has your mother given away more than $5.4 million?
That's
he
great.
laughed, and then I was very sarcastic, because I am sarcastically humorous. I said, your mother's going to have to work the busiest corner in Boca to get $5.4 million, and she doesn't have enough time left.
Penny at a time,
and he
too.
laughed, and then he got it.
Good. Well, I hope that he'll then come see you. You know, Joe.
Oh, no. Well, this was helping his mother. He'll help me. He'll come see me, too.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
When people start to hear the stuff they haven't heard,
right.
And that's part of lawyering. It's not. I met with somebody who came in for Medicaid for her mother the other day, and I explained a whole bunch of stuff. And she and her husband own a family business and have 2 children. And one of the children work in the family business and has for 10 years, and the other one wants nothing to do with it. And that family business is the primary asset. And I said, have you done any estate planning yet for yourselves? And she said, no, not yet. I said, well, you've got very complicated estate planning issues. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, you have a son who works in the business, who has helped maintain and build that business, and has made his, if you will, his economic future vested on that business. And you've got a daughter who has nothing to do with it. You can't leave that business 50-50 to the 2 of them. He's going to say, she's going to become my partner. She doesn't know this business. She doesn't care about this business. I've been underpaid all these years waiting for the day that I can take it over and get a profit. And on the other hand, she's going to be resentful if he were. We got to talk about how you can prepare your estate plan, and I can give you some suggestions as to what you can do. And we got to examine it while you're young enough. You may have to buy insurance. You may have to do stuff. And she said, we met with a lawyer that our stockbroker recommended, and the lawyer said, well, what do you want to do? And she said, we walked out of there in disbelief. We went there for advice, and she said, what do you want to do? She said, we're coming back. Thank you for the advice you're giving me on my mother. We'll come back, but we'll come back for that as well, because we finally figured it out that you really do need advice. It's just not shooting from the hip. And she said, we didn't really perceive I didn't really perceive all of the dynamics of the problem until you just laid it right out. You're absolutely right.
Thank you, Joe.
So it's all about dealing with these issues with people. And,
right.
And you don't have to be business people to have it. I discussed with somebody who has a disabled child and a healthy child.
No,
how do you treat them properly?
Right. I know. There's so much to talk about. Please go to his seminars. They're very important. Joe, thank you very much. We really enjoyed having you on this morning. We always learn so much. And have a great Mother's Day.
Okay. When is Mother's Day?
I don't know. Sometime in May.
Not tomorrow.
No.
Still April. Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
I never blow Mother's Day. Okay. Take care. Be well.
All right.
And
thank you.
Thank you. Everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.